Welcome. I'm here to talk about a topic that is very close to my heart. And I'm probably not the only one. Free school meals. You know, I decided to look into it a little more in depth to try and understand why. Why was it refused? Is it just because they are selfish? Is it because they have no empathy? It was quite surprising when I looked into this subject, and I found several reasons that the government has given as to why. Firstly, they mention that it is best, in their opinion, it is best to invest that money that they would spend on free school meals. It is best to invest that money in the universal credit. What a joke. Have they looked into universal credit? Do they really know how it works? Or is universal credit to them just a bunch of rules and regulation that they put onto paper without actually thinking, how will that affect the families in need? It is very well known that in those areas where universal credit rules, the number of people, the number of families who had to turn to food banks has grown. In 2 years, the number of people who had to turn to food banks because they couldn't feed their children went up by 40% in the areas where universal credit is the only help available. Now, out of curiosity, I looked into it. I thought, what if I got into trouble? How much help does the government actually give? I am a single mother with 2 children. They depend on me. From food, to clothing, to treats, to school meals. So I went into the government help line online and tapped in my details. Let's see what help I would receive if I got in that situation. The mighty universal credit, that wonderful, wonderful help, would give me £1,400 a month. Out of that, I should be paying for everything. So according to the government, a single mother of 2 can pay her rent, her bills, her council tax, the food, the clothing, and everything else out of £1,400. Do they know how much the rent is on properties nowadays? Do they actually know that? Because after I paid for my rent and the bills, I'm not going to say I will have X amount of pounds left over, because I wouldn't. In fact, I would need another few £100s just to be able to feed my children, and I'm not even talking about myself. I'm not talking about me not being able to get food or me not being able to have clothing or new shoes. I don't care about that. I wouldn't even be able to feed my children, let alone anything else. So I wonder, where is all that help that you're pumping into the welfare? Because it does seem whoever made this rule and who invented the wonderful universal credit, how much in touch are you actually with your people? MPs, are you actually in touch with the people in your constituencies? I don't think so. I don't think so. So, of course, that was one of the reasons. It is best for them to pump that money into the welfare system. Well, clearly, that's, there is a word I would like to say, but I can't. But I think, without me saying it, you know exactly what I mean. Before lockdown, 1.4 million children were registered as those who are in need of free school meals. Since lockdown, since redundancies and furloughing happened, another 1 million children have been registered who are in very much need of free school meals. Now let me put that into perspective a little bit. You know, I'm just a mum, I don't know much. Just from what I know. It cost the government £522 million to subsidise Eat Out to Help Out for a whole month. But that's okay, right? Yes, I understand that was helping businesses, the hospitality sector. I understand that. Nothing wrong with that. Now, a school meal costs £2.10 per day, per child. So, if we have 2.4 million children who are in need of free school meals, the government would have to spend under £5 million. Let's make it £4.8 million for the week. So if you can afford, supposedly, £522 million for people to go out and have fun for a whole month, surely you can afford much, much, much less than that for children who need it. This would not be spent on having fun. It would be spent on something extremely important. The other reasoning from the government is that they don't want to nationalize children. They don't believe in that, and they want they want parents to take some responsibility for their children. Apparently, that's a valid reason. Now, please tell me, which responsibility do you choose as a parent, as a responsible parent? It is the responsible thing to do to pay your bills, right? It is the responsible thing to do to pay your rent. It is the responsible thing to do to make sure your children are clothed and fed, right? And the other responsibility is to feed your children. So which one do you choose? I believe they are equally important. Which one do you choose? The responsibility of paying your bills or the responsibility of feeding your children? Stupid question, I know. But hey, we are supposed to be responsible parents. What happens when the so-called help is not enough? It's not enough for you to be able to be responsible. What happens then with the wonderful welfare? Which is as faulty as anything. They don't want to nationalize children, and parents have to take responsibility for their own children. Well done. Very well done. What a horrible thing to say. Really? Do you think that parents are not responsible enough if they can't feed their children? Really? If they have no work anymore, if they can't afford the food because your welfare isn't good enough, then please tell me, how can they be more responsible? It's horrible. Absolutely horrible. It is not the children's fault that you take away jobs. It is not the children's fault that your welfare system is faulty. It is not the children's fault that you cannot look after your own people. And it is not the children's fault if their parents can't afford food. It's extremely shameful. But hey, it is okay. Apparently you have £25 per day to feed yourselves. That's okay, right? It's fine. It's a very important job that you do. Or work from home, or go in to your workplace. It's fine. You can afford that. You can afford and have all the meals and the beautiful meals for £25 per day per person. This is fair, right? I bet you never had to wonder, how will you feed your children? Has this thought ever crossed your mind? Have you ever looked into your wonderful welfare and see whether actually parents can afford to live on that? No. This is not how a wealthy country should look after their own. More help should be available. And maybe next time when you make rules, maybe next time when you put in place things like the wonderful universal credit, maybe you should have a look if it's actually working before you make people to try it. Before you tell people that that's the only option they have. Thank you very much. See you next time.